Hey everybody, welcome to Abundant Source Raw on YouTube. And in this video I want to talk about our species specific diet. Every animal has one and humans are no exception. So, what are we designed to eat? Anatomically, biologically, physiologically, we are frugivores, designed to eat fruit. It is what we thrive on, just like every other one of our closest relatives, our closest ancestors, apes, all the other anthropods. They're frugivores. Okay, they less than 1% of their diet comes from meat. They're not eating. We're not carnivores or omnivores. We do not have the high acid levels to be able to break down meat. We don't have the short intestines like that of a carnivore and omnivore to be able to excrete that meat quickly. All carnivores have about, on average, 3 times their torso in intestinal length. Their intestines are about 3 times their torso length. And humans, as well as all other herbivores, have an intestinal length of about 10 times the length of their torso. And that is because meat eaters need to excrete the meat very quickly, otherwise it's going to putrefy and rot and build up bad bacteria, and they need to get rid of it quickly. They also have about 10 times the acidity level in their stomach acids, and that is, like I said, to break down the meat and to kill all the bacteria. Humans have a stomach acid on average about 10 times weaker than that of a carnivore. Our stomach is not built to withstand meat, and most people think we can just eat whatever we want and our stomach acid will just break it down and take care of it, but our stomach acid really is not that strong. It's much weaker than people think, and it doesn't just break down everything like most people assume it does. And so a lot of bad bacteria gets built up, and then we also have very long intestines, and that is so that way we can extract as much nutrients as possible from our food, from the fruit. It's the most water soluble and easily digestible and easy to break down for the human body. We are not herbivores. We don't have the digestive enzymes to break down the cellulose wall in grass and leafy greens and vegetables. We don't have sharp teeth and big sharp claws and fast speed for hunting prey and attacking it and ripping it open. And we don't have long snouts like a carnivore does to be able to dig into the carcass of a dead animal and rip out the flesh. We have flat faces, and we have the perfect hands and fingers and opposable thumbs for reaching out and grabbing fruit. Fits perfectly on our hands. We have long, lanky arms, just like our ape relatives, for climbing and swinging on trees. That way we can grab fresh tropical fruit. We don't have super sharp claws for ripping into flesh. We have these little tiny fingernails, perfect for tearing into the flesh of fruit and peeling it. Carnivores have a jaw that only goes up and down for just tearing flesh apart, and then they swallow. And that's another reason why their acidity level is so high, is because they don't have the ability like humans do and other herbivores do to grind and move their jaw side to side to grind and really break down the food before it goes into their stomach. A lot of their stuff that they ingest is whole, and so they need that high acidity level to break it down into smaller pieces and get rid of it quickly. We are meant to grind our food up and turn it into liquid before we even swallow. That's going to make it easiest for us to digest. Fruit is the easiest thing to turn into liquid and then get assimilated. And things like grains, they're very coarse. We also don't have the ability to break down grains, and they have toxins inside of them And if we were to eat grains in their raw natural state, they would be toxic to us and very coarse and hard on our digestive system. We wouldn't be able to break them down. Birds have gizzards that can grind up the grains and help them digest it. They can eat grains. Humans were not meant to eat grains. We have a symbiotic relationship with fruit. We evolved to eat fruit, and fruit evolved to be eaten by us. We evolved together and grew together in this symbiotic relationship. Fruit wants to be eaten by us, and it is the most delicious, satisfying thing in its raw natural state. And no other animal in nature cooks its food. I mean, think about it. If you put your hand in fire, it's going to burn your hand, and it's going to destroy the cells and the nutrients in your hand. It's going to degenerate your hand. So why do you think that it doesn't do the same thing to your food? If you put food in fire, it's going to burn the nutrition. It's going to burn the living enzymes. We're meant to eat living foods. It's going to cook out the water content and dehydrate us. Fruit has the most biologically identical nutrient composition and water composition, and all around just the composition of materials is the most identical food to humans. The water content is about the same water content that humans are. The nutrition in the fruit is structured in ratios that are the closest to the human body. The exact amount of minerals and vitamins and water that we need that make up the human body is the most closely identical in fruit, not herbs, not vegetables, not meat, not dairy. Fruit. The body's main source of fuel is sugar, and it wants simple sugars, the natural sugars found in fruit. It doesn't want complex, it doesn't want starches, it doesn't want to have to break down starches, a complex carbohydrate, and turn it into what it really wants, which is the simple sugars. It wants the simple sugars straight from the source. It doesn't want whole proteins from meat, it wants amino acids from fruit. The body wants simple. And the more complex you make your meals, the harder the body has to work. Do you know that you're expending so much more extra nerve energy, life force energy, when you try to digest these foods that are not meant to be digested by us? The amount of energy that you have to use to digest a starch to turn it into simple sugars, which you would have just gotten from the fruit in the first place, takes up so much more energy. The amount of work your body has to do to break down the proteins that you get from meat and rebuild it up into the proteins that you actually need in your body takes so much work compared to just getting your amino acids from the fruit, so your body can just utilize it right away for the specific proteins that your body needs. And we may look back at history and archaeology and say, well, we've been eating meat for thousands and thousands of years. Well, and grains as well. For the past 10,000 years or so, we've been eating grains. But 10,000 years, that's less than 0.1% of human existence. We didn't evolve to eat grains, and same with meat. Even if we ate meat for over 100,000 years, 200,000 years, that's still probably less than 1% of our entire existence on the planet. We evolved to eat fruit, and just because we can look back 10,000 years and say, this is what we were eating 10,000 years ago, obviously that's our specific diet. Well, that's like saying 10,000 years from now, we look back and say, hey, these guys were drinking Dr. Pepper and eating pizza. That must be our human-specific diet. So you have to look to nature. Does it make sense to you that our closest relatives, all the other apes and anthropods, are frugivores, but we are not? makes sense to you that we are most biologically, anatomically, physiologically identical to apes and anthropods, but we shouldn't be eating what they're eating. We should be eating what these other creatures are eating that are completely different to us, that have feathers and claws and sharp teeth and run on four legs and long faces. Is that the diet we're supposed to eat? I don't think so. I think we should look at nature and look what is most appealing to us in its raw natural state. Most people would not eat meat in its raw natural state. The only reason most people can tolerate meat and grains is because we cook it up and use spices and herbs to cover and camouflage its true nature. Most people are disgusted by raw meat. And they're even more disgusted at the thought of having to chase down an animal and kill it and rip it open and dig into the flesh. Not just eating the nice little cut fillets and muscles, but also eating the intestines, the brains, the liver, just like any true meat eater would. And they would love it. They would salivate at the sight of an animal and the sight of raw flesh. They would salivate and they would enjoy it and take a very high amount of pleasure in eating that type of food because it's their specific diet. It is what they're designed to take pleasure in because that's what's going to help them thrive and survive the most. We are designed to eat and thrive off of sugar, simple natural fruit sugars, its raw natural state. And if it's not appealing to you in its raw natural state, then it most likely isn't human food. Because other animals don't eat food outside of its raw natural state. They don't know anything about nutrition and nutrient ratios. They don't go off of, how much protein this has and how much omega-3s this has. They just use their senses, their eyes, their smell, their sight, and their taste. And that's it. They go for exactly what appeals to them in nature. And what appeals to us in nature is obviously fruit. If you had a mango tree or a bush of strawberries and blueberries, would you ever choose to exhaust your energy, run and chase down an animal, kill it, and eat the raw flesh as opposed to eating the blueberries and the mangoes that are fresh, ripe, right there for you to eat, that are sweet and delicious? That's what makes us salivate. When we see a monkey in a tree eating a banana, we don't say, "Oh my goodness, look at that delicious monkey." No, we say, "Oh my goodness, what a cute little monkey. Look at that delicious banana. Now I want some bananas." So, as well as with grains, if you see a field of rice, are you going to choose the rice? You're going to pick the rice, these little pieces of rice, and then you're going to go cook it, and then eat this tasteless, starchy rice over delicious, sweet fruit that's already ready for you, perfectly designed for you. It wants you to eat it. I don't think you would. Same with herbs. Are you going to choose a bushel of kale? Are you going to eat some grass, some lettuce, over a delicious bush of strawberries, over bananas and papaya? I sure as heck wouldn't. No way. Mangoes and bananas, they're too good. They make me feel the best. They make me feel light. So you might look at something like meat and grains and whatever else and say, "Oh wow, but look at the protein in this. Look at all that iron I could get from that kale. Look at all this." But and it may look better to you on paper, but can your body really assimilate it? Can your body break it down? Can your body utilize it in its raw natural state? The body cannot utilize anything on the planet better than it can utilize fruit, better than it can digest and assimilate fruit. It doesn't matter what kind of nutrition ratios the food you're eating has. If you are not clean and healthy, and if you are not designed to eat that food, your body may only be getting half of what's in it. It may look great on paper, but in reality, that doesn't mean squat if you can't properly digest it, break it down, and assimilate it, and have your cells be able to utilize it. So, go for what looks the most appealing to you in its raw natural state, which I think if you do a little more digging, you'll find that it's fruit. I know that it's fruit for me, and many others know that it's fruit, and we feel incredible. We feel the best on fruit, and I think you will too if you try it out. Just eat fruit. It's what we're meant to eat, and it's what fuels our body the best. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy the content that I put out. I'll be making some more videos soon, so I hope you guys have an awesome day.